Alright, hello citizens of the Nigelverse. It's Nigel here once again, and this is going to be another wrestling review. So, yes, I'm a month late to the party, but you know what? Put those streamers back up and put the party music back on because we might have probably one of the best, as some people are touting this, it's probably one of the best AEW pay-per-views ever. It's definitely a pay-per-view of the year contender, and I know we're still pretty early into the year, but this was a really solid one. It's time to review AEW Dynasty from about a month ago, so a little late, but that's alright. But, of course, as always, I'm not a professional wrestling reviewer or analyst or anything like that, just a man who enjoys a good time. And if my opening spiel didn't give it away, I had a really good time with this event. So without further ado, let's get right into it. If you've seen these reviews of mine before, you kind of already know how this works. If you haven't, I'm going to be talking about what I liked and disliked about each match on the card, and we're gonna go match by match. But first, let's talk about how quickly what happened on the pre-show. Of course, I didn't watch the pre-show. The pre-show didn't even happen. Didn't even make it to air, or at least he's not in the replay of it. And I do have to say this right off the bat: the one thing worse than navigating Bleacher Reports right like as the show was going on is navigating it after the fact, because it was pretty like tricky to navigate, like on my laptop. For starters, whenever I would exit out of the event and come back to it, and actually I tried to watch the whole thing yesterday, wasn't quite able to do so. I got pretty tired, so I decided, you know what, I'll save it for tomorrow. I'll save the rest for tomorrow. I got up to and past the AEW International Championship. So, at more or less like about the halfway point or so. So I said, you know what, I'll save the FTW Championship and on from there. But even before then, watching on my laptop, what it would do is whenever you pause it, it would mute it. It would mute the event, so you had to go in and re-click it to bring the volume back. And same with when you went out of full screen. And granted, that's pretty tame in the grand scheme of things, but the TV, that's where things went down. That's where the issues that was happening laid bare. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna chill out. And maybe this is why I couldn't finish it, because I was laying obviously in my bed and watching it via my TV. Can make you kind of sleepy, but I decided, you know what, I'll watch the rest on my TV. I'll chill out for the night. At this point, it was about I think it was like 11 and or so. I was like, you know, I'll just chill, watch the rest of my TV. But not only did it restart the entire event, which if you went out of the event and went back in, it restarted it from the beginning. So you had to like manually fast forward and go back to where you were. Except the fast forward wasn't really working the best. That's on my TV. Like, it would fast forward, but it would do it really slowly, and it's not like other streaming services where you know, if you press the fast forward button a number of times, then it'll like fast forward by like, excuse me, by times 2, times 4, times 8, times 16, stuff like that. And no, the fast forward on this one was pretty slow, and I tried pressing it multiple times, and sometimes with streaming services, it will scroll along so you can see where on the event it's fast forwarding through. But not necessarily the case here. Like, it would do that a couple times, but then other times it wouldn't do it, and it was just really frustrating to navigate. Why didn't it just let you continue from the point where you were? For example, comparing it to Peacock, and maybe this is apples and oranges perhaps, but with Peacock, when I watch WWE events on Peacock, as much gruff as I give those events, at least if you back out of it for whatever reason, either you're like, oh, I'll finish the rest later, or in my case where I just watch a singular match from an event, I'm like, okay, I'm done with the match, I'll exit out. At least it'll save where you were, so they'll have the continue watching function, or if you're like watching an event, and such as like a past broadcast, so they'll say like start from the beginning or resume. So if it starts from the beginning, then you can start from the beginning. But if you resume, it just puts you right where you were. So it pretty much locks where you were. That's what I wish Bleacher Report had, but sadly it didn't. But despite the reports and what they were saying, Dynasty was still available on Bleacher Report. That's how I watched it, and Double or Nothing still on Bleacher Report. So I guess AEW, maybe they're like slowly phasing out their partnership with Bleacher Report. And I know that stems from kind of the issues that a lot of people were having with watching Revolution. A lot of people were having the issues, which is why AEW decided, you know what, we're not gonna partner with Bleacher Report anymore. Instead, we're just gonna do like Fight TV or YouTube and stuff like that. But still with Bleacher Report for now. So I guess it's more of a gradual thing where they're gonna gradually phase out Bleacher Report and eventually move away from it entirely, which I do understand. Like Bleacher Report is convenient, and I have the app and everything, but at the same time, it definitely is giving me a lot of issues. And it was thankfully, surprisingly, Revolution, I didn't really have any issues, which is good. But I know a lot of people were having some issues with that and with like the previous events, and especially from like last year or so. But with that, now that little rant's out of the way, let's get into the show proper. The pre-show matches, there were 3 of them. The first being Trent Beretta battled and defeated Matt Sydal. And it is really quickly another kind of mini rant. Why did they just slap Trent Beretta versus Orange Cassidy on TV? They did the whole best friends falling apart. They did the parking lot brawl between Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor, and now Chuck might have a career-ending injury. But why Trent Beretta versus Orange Cassidy on just like regular TV? Why not save it for Double or Nothing? It's not like they couldn't wait. Double or Nothing is literally a week from today. But it also wasn't that long after they did the whole Trent versus Orange one-on-one. But it's really weird that they didn't hold out for Double or Nothing. So, but I guess they figured probably wouldn't be necessary. I don't know, but nevertheless, then Katsuyori Shibata and Orange Cassidy, speaking of which, defeat Shane Taylor Promotions, that being Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty, in tag team action, and then in the unification match for the AEW World Trios Championships and the Ring of Honor World 6-Man Tag Team Championships, Bullet Club Gold, that being obviously Jay White, Austin Gunn, and Colton Gunn, defeated the Acclaim, that being Anthony Bowens, Max Platinum Max, and of course Daddy Ass Billy Gunn. And so those were the pre-show match, but now we get into the show proper, and what a way to kick off as Kazuchika Okada defends the AEW Continental Championship against Pac. Ooh, this match was a lot of fun. Like you knew from the opener this was gonna be a fantastic show. Thing is, opening matches usually set the tone for the most part. There are some times where an opening match will go one way and the rest of the show will go a different way. For example, WrestleMania 32, that opening match was really fun. The rest of the show was really not. But yeah, this was a really fun opener. Of course, Pac had returned not too long ago, been feuding with Okada and the Elite and everything for a little bit now, and leading to this match for the Continental Championship. And these two just tore the house down on all kinds of fun, all kinds of hard shots, stiff moment, and stuff like that. This was just like a very, very fun match. Ultimately, Okada getting the win against Pac for Okada getting the win against Pac with the Rainmaker, and interestingly enough, Pac missing both his attempts at the Black Arrow. Okada countered both times. So there is that, but then ultimately ultimately Okada putting away Pac, and Pac getting a standing ovation from the crowd afterwards, saying he's our bastard or stuff like that. It's not quite he's a scumbag, but it's still really solid, and maybe it came first for all I know. But yes, just a really fun, really exciting match. Definitely a really great way to open the show, but we're just getting started. People, we're just getting started. But next up in trios action in the House of Black, that being Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews, battled the team of Adam Copeland and the former Continental Champion Eddie Kingston and Mark Briscoe. Admittedly, a bit on the random side. It's more several stories converging. Of course, Eddie Kingston and Mark Briscoe having their friendship / battle. Mark Briscoe beat Eddie Kingston for the AEW World Championship. So, between losing the Continental Championship and then losing also the Ring of Honor World Championship, Eddie Kingston's just down to one championship, that being the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship. But yeah, so there's that friendship there. Adam Copeland's been having his issues with House of Black, and these issues will carry into Double or Nothing, because Adam Copeland is going to go up against Malachi Black there for the TNT Championship. But in the meantime, they've teamed up here against the House of Black, and were they successful? Well, no, but still, some fun action, some solid action, and ultimately ending. And I do like how this is gonna segue, I imagine, into not only a segue into the rest of their feud, but also now into their match at Double or Nothing, and that being Malachi Black nailing Adam Copeland with the mist before her nailing him with the end. I thought it was still called the Black Mass, but no, it's called the end now. But yeah, so the House of Black is victorious. The House always wins, of course. And now, segueing into the aforementioned match at Double or Nothing, and Adam Copeland. Excuse me. And that's the one thing I'll say about getting to this event late is. And now I also have hindsight on my side. So Adam Cole has now faced Buddy Matthews and then Brody King, and now gonna face Malachi Black with the TNT title on the line. But that's for Double or Nothing, and of course we'll have our predictions coming later on in the week. So probably around like Friday or so. But next up, speaking of the House of Black, will Julia Hart have the same success as her male counterparts / stablemates as she defends the TBS Championship against Willow Nightingale? Well, it's not Julia Hart defending the title against Mercedes Moné at Double or Nothing, but yeah, speaking of which, Mercedes Moné, they did show briefly backstage she is challenging whoever wins the TBS Championship here. Why is she randomly getting an opportunity at the championship? Your guess is as good as mine. Which is funny, they even bring that up on a commentary. I think it was Stokely Hathaway who brought it up on commentary, which Stokely Hathaway was like guest commentator for this match. He joined the commentary booth, but Nightingale, as I alluded to, who beating Julia Hart for the TBS Championship. Pretty solid match, I would say. Some decent action between the two, and Nightingale will hang the win. And Mercedes Moné coming in to really steal the spotlight away from her. So it will be Mercedes Moné going against Willow Nightingale. Who's going to win? Who's going to walk out TBS champion? We will find out come Double or Nothing next week, of course. But hey, at least next week in real life time. But as for this timeline, yeah, at Willow Nightingale, I think this was a really great move. And of course, it also worth mentioning, this is under House of Black rules, and Willow Nightingale's rule was that Chris Statlander and Sky Blue, who of course Sky Blue was friends with Willow Nightingale at one point, has turned her back on her, joined up with Julia Hart in the House of Black and everything. They are both banned from ringside, and Chris Statlander's reaction to it being banned from ringside, she's like, "Wait, me? What did I do?" But it's understandable. And of course. Well, of course, afterwards, Statlander and Stokely Hathaway celebrating. There was a bit of tension, though. Some people kind of speculated that Statlander might turn on Willow Nightingale, but ultimately they did embrace after the match. So yeah, congrats to Will Nightingale. But then next up for the AEW International Championship, if Roderick Strong faces his now former friend Kyle O'Reilly. So Kyle O'Reilly came back not too long ago. He came back at Revolution. Brace tugged it out with Roderick Strong. Didn't join the Undisputed Kingdom, and that made Roderick Strong a little bit cross. So Roddy turned on Kyle, and they've been feuding leading into this match here for the International Championship. Pretty solid action between these two. Of course, these two no stranger to each other, and they did bring that up. They brought up how Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly were a team at one point. They didn't tell you the name, though. Good old copyright. But it is funny, like during the promo package, which I kind of skipped most of the promo packages slash entrances for the event, only because while some of the entrances are pretty cool, ultimately it was more about the match for me. But that's more so just a me thing. But they did show Bobby Fish during the promo packages as detailing the friendship between Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. Bobby Fish was shown, but nevertheless, it is really not that big a deal. Just kind of interesting, but it does make sense, hence to play into the story. But nevertheless, as Roddy Strong and Kyle O'Reilly, he definitely taking it to each other. The only thing is, I do wish Kyle got a little bit more in, but he did get quite a bit of offense in, but so did Roderick Strong, ultimately nailing Kyle O'Reilly to put him away with the end of Heartache. In order to retain the International Championship, Adam Cole brought out to celebrate with the Kingdom, but he rises from his wheelchair. Adam Cole's leg is at least better. Or I don't know if it's fully 100%, but at the very least better. I know they took Adam Cole off, finally took him off TV and everything, because him still appearing with the Undisputed Kingdom and everything really hampered his recovery. So they took him off for a bit. But now Adam Cole walking down to the ring, celebrating, staring at Wardlow, kind of giving Wardlow a death stare, which Wardlow did show up trying to run interference, but it pretty much backfired, and the referee spotted him immediately, kicked him out, and they tried to blame Wardlow, saying Wardlow helped out Roddy Strong. Not really. Wardlow didn't really do anything. But so Adam Cole giving almost a death stare behind Wardlow. Wow, they teased dissension between the team / friends, ends in 2 matches in a row. So nice, they had to do it twice. But Adam Cole celebrating, being able to walk again, and at least for the time being. So that is good, though. That means Adam Cole's recovery is going pretty well. But so Roderick Strong retained. But next up for the FTW Championship match, in an FTW rules match, Hook defends the championship against Chris Jericho. This was the match that a lot of people were dreading. When the card for Dynasty was finalized and people saw all the matches, they were like, "There's no way, this card could be ruined." And then they added this match. But to their credit, this was still a really good match. Of course, FTW rules, meaning pretty much everything goes, and it falls kind of anywhere. But there was quite a few weapons, quite a few hard shots between the two, including Hook with a T-bone to Chris Jericho off the apron through a table, which was wow. Jericho, speaking of which, Jericho nailing Hook with 2 Judas effects and a baseball bat shot to win the FTW Championship. Yeah, you heard me right. Chris Jericho is the FTW champion, and from there, Jericho has pretty much started a new stable, the Learning Tree. Big Bill has been added to his ranks the ranks of the Learning Tree, that is. But so Jericho Jericho now FTW champion, and looking almost apologetic. It was kind of a weird, interesting dynamic where Jericho was doing heelish actions, such as putting Hook down for good, but still trying to play face. Of course, this stems from the rivalry that Jericho and Hook have had over the past few past couple months or so. Or even like the past month. I don't think it was that long, but. Yeah, Jericho looking apologetic, saying he had to put Hook down. Apologetic to Taz, who has also good storytelling on Taz's part, or taking off his headset, coming over to be with his son and everything. And after Jericho beat him, of course, and Jericho showing like his sympathies, being apologetic to Taz having none of it, and Jericho, which I don't think I noticed until this match. It might have been the case all along, but I didn't notice until this match. And more specifically, as Jericho was leaving out, Jericho was in the Lionheart gimmick, and they gave him the theme song of Electric Head, which was his theme song in ECW. So nice touch. But otherwise, yeah. So Jericho, new FTW champion. But while I admittedly have been kind of behind on TV when it comes to AEW, a lot of people interested so far with the gimmick. But next up, speaking of interesting gimmicks, AEW Women's World Championship is on the line as Timeless Toni Storm defends against Thunder Rosa. We still don't have the match in black and white, so I still not quite able to get what I want. But before Toni Storm did the hip attack, they did show her in black and white preparing for the hip attack. I wonder if that was a way to try to shut me up. Sadly, didn't work. But maybe I'm alone in that. But come on, just one match in black and white. Like if they have one match in black and white, I absolutely promise I will stop bringing it up. I promise I will stop bringing it up. You have my word, people. You definitely have my word. I will stop bringing it up. I won't bring it up ever again if indeed they do have the match in black and white. Alright, so that's a quick the Heritage had to run out for a second, but yeah, so otherwise as a pretty solid match, pretty solid encounter, I would say, between the two. Who Thunder Rosa definitely brought it against Toni Storm. In fact, to start off the match, Thunder Rosa took off her mask, revealed not for like her regular face paint that she wears. Of course, she normally she has half the side painted with like this the skull and everything, but this time around, showing perhaps a different side of Thunder Rosa, but also they do bring up how the makeup was wiped from Thunder Rosa's face, if I'm not mistaken. No, it was the champagne that was thrown at Thunder Rosa, and then Thunder Rosa in turn smeared the lipstick all over Toni Storm, and Nigel McGuinness is. The thing is, as I'm kind of at crossroads when it comes to him, because on one hand, him favoring the heels usually is pretty funny for the most part, or not quite as funny as my camera deciding not to focus. I just might have to do that real quick. There we go. But so Nigel McGuinness, of course, favoring the heels, but it does get a little bit annoying. I think it definitely gets annoying kind of in this match as well, unfortunately. Hey, like, granted, he's just doing his job. I can't hate him too much for that, but it did get a bit grating, especially in this match. But nevertheless, so pretty solid back and forth between the two. Ultimately, Toni Storm putting away Thunder Rosa with the Storm Zero Pile Driver in order to pick up the win and retain. And still no black and white, although I don't know if this was the case the whole time or if this is the first time I noticed, but I'm noticing quite a bit on the show, of course. But when they do the championship graphics before the match, first of all, I noticed within the International Championship, they almost have like a championship design within the championship design within the centerpiece. I don't think I ever noticed that before, but either that or it indicates it was a new design. It was introduced not too long ago. But also with the for Toni Storm with the Women's World Championship intro kind of video that they have, it's in black and white. So I guess trying their best to appease little old me, but sadly not gonna work. I still need at least one match Black Boy. Even if it like, hey, I don't know if it has happened on like regular TV, yeah, but on pay-per-view, like come on, it wouldn't be the goofiest thing you've done on pay-per-view, but come on, just one match. It doesn't even have to be long. I don't even care if it's a squash match. Like just one match in black and white. I promise I'll stop asking about it. It's I promise I'll stop asking about it. You have my word, AEW. You have my word. But yeah, so pretty solid match between the two there. And of course at Double or Nothing, Toni Storm's going to be defending against Serena Deeb. So we'll see there. But they kind of almost gave away the finish, noting how Toni Storm was never able to successfully defend her championship 4 times in a row as AEW Women's World Champion, and that her defense against Thunder Rosa was her 4th defense. I think you know where that went. Obviously, you know where that went because I told the winner. But yeah, when they give away stuff like that, I get it. Like it tries to tie into the story, but at the same time, it's almost always a dead giveaway, you know. But nevertheless, next up. Ooh, you already know what time it is. The match everybody's looking forward to, and the match that everybody said delivered. Will Ospreay, for the first time, battles the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. The aerial assassin versus the American Dragon for the first time ever. Oh boy. Ooh, baby. When I saw a lot of people talking about this match, that's when I knew it was going to be an interesting one. I already knew, like I mentioned in my predictions, and I called it that it was going to be the match of the night, and it definitely was. These two brought it. They tore the house down. It had almost everything you wanted. Just about everything you wanted. You had some stiff shots. You had some technical wizardry from both Bryan Danielson and, to an extent, Will Ospreay. You had some aerial, high-flying stuff from Ospreay. You had a scary moment where I forget the move where Hera. Let me see if I can find the move within the wiki here, which I do have it. For reference, and so Ospreay, I think just Tiger Driver, where he held him, where he put Bryan Danielson, and Bryan Danielson suffered, I believe, a concussion afterward, or it's a concussion, and so very scary spot there, and then Ospreay finishing Danielson off with the hidden blade. But it's the reason why Ospreay said he's not doing that move again, because it definitely was a scary landing. But it wouldn't be the first one, as Bryan Danielson did deliver her a suplex off the top, and Ospreay kind of landed on his head/neck as well. Also some scary moments, but otherwise this match is just a whole lot of fun, and including Ospreay going for the Os Cutter into the Busaika knee from Bryan Danielson, countering. And I'm surprised no one's tried to do that to Cody just yet. But yeah, so this match was a whole lot of fun. Both these guys, and really, my words will not do this match justice. This match definitely, it's as good as everybody says it is. If you haven't seen this match, definitely go check it out. Like if you don't watch the rest of the show, which I do recommend you do, because the rest of the show is pretty solid, it definitely at least this match, because this match, good stuff, fantastic stuff, and definitely gets both guys over in a really big way. Ospreay, of course, getting the win, looking really solid there. Danielson looks very strong in defeat, having to be put away with like a very scary bump to get the win, and for Ospreay there. But yes, just great stuff. And Ospreay is going to be challenging for the International Championship against Roderick Strong at Double or Nothing. So we'll see if he wins it there. But otherwise, yeah, just really fun stuff. And I definitely can't recommend this match enough. I don't know if I necessarily rated 6.5 stars like Dave Meltzer did, which apparently is only the second highest rating he's given a match. The highest he gave was 7 stars, and he gave it to Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada in New Japan. I think that was the one. I think that was the one that went that had the hour or time limit draw, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was that match. I think it was that Okada Omega match. But yeah, so. Yeah, so just a fun match throughout, and I need I need a cigarette after that match. But next up for the AEW World Tag Team Championships, the finals of the tournament in ladder match action. I love this match already because I am a sucker for ladder matches, as you may or may not know. The EVPs is that being Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, aka the Young Bucks. How are you gonna snub up their name and call them EVPs, but then still call them the Young Bucks? But what can you do? Change doesn't happen overnight, I guess. But they are taking on FTR, that being Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood. And these two, who definitely no strangers to each other, have been feuding for quite a bit. It's stemming back to the multiple encounters they've had with each other so far in AEW, including from All In, which is when they showed that footage. But that will come back into this match. But yeah, so it all comes to a head here. Of course, the AEW World Tag Team Championships vacated by Sting and Darby Allin, who Darby Allin is also worth mentioning. Eddie Kingston, because he's injured his leg. Darby Allin's going to be taking his place in the Anarchy in the Arena match next week at Double or Nothing. But a lot of stuff, like I said, hindsight is definitely on my side, which is definitely a byproduct of getting to this event so late. But nevertheless, so but excuse me, but Hannah cannot speak today. Hey, I'm still thinking about the Ospreay Danielson match. That was fantastic. But this match was really good too. Between the two teams, awesome high flying, including from Cash Wheeler. Cash Wheeler continuing to be a madman when it comes to the high flying, including in a moonsault. I believe onto. If it wasn't both the Bucks, it was one of them. I forgot who he did. I think it was to Nick Jackson, where he nailed the moonsault onto. If it wasn't one of them, it was both of them. But so much for no flips. But even though there were flips, there were also and of course, Dax Harwood being split open from the ladders, and cool use of the ladder. The Young Bucks definitely looked like madmen, getting a majority of the offense. And although FTR did get their stuff in, including Matt losing a shoe before being nailed with the Shatter Machine. So I guess they're not calling that the Big Rig anymore. Now it's the Shatter Machine. Once again, as it was in WWE. So I guess WWE doesn't have that trademark anymore. And admittedly, I'm kind of late to the party. I think it was called the Shatter Machine again for a little bit, but you can tell kind of all over the place. But yeah, so just some fun action throughout, including an EVP trigger as Cash Wheeler's legs were trapped within the ladders, which I think was pretty cool. But towards the end, and as I believe it was Cash Wheeler who was climbing up to grab the title, holds a man in a Sting mask of all things, and he's knocked over the ladder. Security bum rush to get the guy out of here. The hood slipped off the mask slipped. It was Jack Perry. The scapegoat is back in AEW and has helped out the Elite, and pretty much what helped the Young Bucks pick up the win and the Tag Team Championships. And of course, since then, Jack Perry has joined in the Elite Heat. He is now part of the Elite Heat, which it's a nice way to recover her, and definitely they definitely won people back. Like people were still not really upset, but more so like disappointed, kind of confused with using the backstage footage. But they kind of brought. I still don't think it was the best idea, but they did manage to bring it back around by having Jack Perry now being part of the Elite. And of course, they beat down Tony Khan. And I think the beat down of Tony Khan happened literally the Dynamite right after this event. Yeah, so. The Young Bucks are once again AEW World Tag Team Champions, and it'll be the Bucks, Okada, and Jack Perry in the aforementioned Anarchy in the Arena match going against okay. So they're going against Team AEW, that being Bryan Danielson, Cash Wheeler, Dax Harwood, and now Darby Allin. And it was supposed to be Eddie Kingston, but I also got to make a correction. They are going to have Trent Beretta versus Orange Cassidy again at Double or So okay, hey, looks like it's just a regular match for now. So okay to that as well, I guess. But it's weird how AEW does have a bad habit of doing that, where they'll do a match on TV and then do the match again at pay-per-view. Granted, WWE's done that too sometimes, and sometimes like it'll lead to the rematch, but AEW does it a little too often for my liking. And WWE, thankfully, doesn't do it nearly as much, but they have done it before, so I can't be too mad at AEW for that. But now it's time for your main event, as Samoa Joe, the AEW World Champion, seeks to defend against Swerve Strickland in awesome Black Panther gear / like Black Panther entrance. Although he chose the Killmonger gear, and Killmonger died in the Black Panther movie. So, this time around, Killmonger won because Swerve is now the AEW World Champion. This was a really solid match as well. Both guys definitely bringing it. Swerve finishing Samoa Joe off with not one but two Swerve stomps, and definitely a very much a feel-good moment. And Swerve did it without interference. He tried using or without like underhand tactics. Samoa Joe did introduce the World Championship. Swerve intercepted it and tried to use it, but that backfired, and it kind of just stayed in the ring for the rest of the match, which I thought was kind of weird. But Swerve ultimately picking up the win over Samoa Joe, becoming the first Black AEW World Champion. And I mentioned before in my predictions, and it bears repeating here, of all the people to be the first Black AEW World Champion in AEW, I think Swerve was a really solid choice. He's definitely over as hell with the crowd, to the point where now he's pretty much turned face, and Brian Cage has turned on him. But I think it is pretty cool that they decided to pop it on Swerve. They decided to pull the trigger on him as world champion, and definitely well deserved for him. But take nothing away from Samoa Joe, even though his reign as world champion was brief. He did put on some pretty solid matches as well. Also, will Swerve be able to defend successfully against Christian Cage at Double or Nothing? We'll find out when we get to Double or Nothing, of course. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for Dynasty. So, for strongest and weakest match of the night, you already know what the strongest is. What is like, like the other great matches on the card were great, but Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson, ooh, that was a great one. That definitely was a cool one. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. Like, I don't know if you can see the goosebumps on my arm. You might not be able to because of the light and because of the camera, but man, just getting goosebumps thinking about it. Man, what a phenomenal match. As for the weakest, probably only by comparison, maybe the TBS Championship match, but not necessarily a bad match, just not as impactful as the other stuff on the card. But yeah, so is this the AEW event of the year? We'll have to find out as the year goes on, but definitely really awesome, and I think it's definitely, with AEW kind of being in like its dire straits, I think this was definitely the shot in the arm that they needed for sure. But nevertheless, that's going to do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Late to the party am I, but I'm glad I was still able to enjoy the party there afterwards. But nevertheless, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video, so you can see as soon as it drops. And let me know in the comments your thoughts on Dynasty. Did you like the event? Did you like my review of Dynasty? Let me know. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys later.